All right, good evening. David Mintz, resident of Monroeville. Hi. I have several things to talk about. My first one was a couple days ago, Mr. Little and I spoke on the phone. I was just calling him to get an update on any progress on the updated gas and oil ordinance that we submitted last month. It's been a month. And I think it's pretty important. I just wanted to ask, from our conversation, my understanding is that there was no work or progress or no staff work looking at or working on the ordinance we turned in. And when I say staff, from when would we talk to that would be Mr. Little, Mr. Ratcher, of course, Mr. Weldon, and Mr. Hughes from our conversation. And in order for that to progress, in order for that to start, we had a conversation about it, is that there would have to be as it was described to me by Mr. Little, an informal consensus from the council for Mr. Little to begin his staff to work on it, to look at it. I don't think we ever quite, it sounds, because it's informal, is there, does it need to be one person that's championing it? Does it need to be the mayor plus a certain number of council people? Does it need to be 4 out of 7? There was just an informal consensus. So I guess my first request would be, as we spoke about it, Mr. Little, when I asked, is there any progress and how long do you think, the whole thing might take? And the fact that it hasn't been started means that, as Mr. Little told me, it said, well, it could take 3 months or it could take 3 years. Now, we've been talking about this for several years, as you know, me coming up every month for most of that time. So I'd hate to see it, go out for 3 years. But I know that was just but I guess what I'm asking, first of all, is there anybody on council that will champion this, including the Mr. Mayor? Could somebody, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way up to all 7 of you plus the mayor, talk to Mr. Little and say, well, I think this is important enough for the staff, the 4 people that I mentioned, including Mr. Little, to start looking at this, going over it, having questions about it. My understanding is you have to look at it, and then you have to do that, and then it goes to the Planning Commission, then it comes back to the council. But right now, it's just sitting there. Nothing's happening yet because council hasn't given the informal consensus to start. So my first question is, would that please start, or could somebody do that? Give Mr. Little the idea that that it's important enough that we should be working on that. I guess that's my first point, and I guess you answer after I'm done with both my points, kind of thing, right? Okay. My second point is actually on the pool issue. Actually, I just had 2 points to make on that because I also spoke to Mr. Little briefly about it, and after we spoke, I did get access to a 97-page document that was released with a lot of letters and information based on a right-to-know request about the pool. And I just wanted to make 2 points from when I read through all these pages. And I'm sure everybody in the council knows this, but I just wanted to make sure. I just wanted to say a few things for everybody in the audience. One was from a letter May 15th of 2018 to Mr. Little from John Romano, the right-of-way administrator for the Pennsylvania Turnpike. And in that letter, he stresses, it says, please note that your property has not been condemned and you and or your tenants are not required to move from the premises. But of course, that was May 15th of 2018. I just wanted to point that out. And one other thing I just wanted to point out on page 40 of the 97 pages that I thought was interesting, just on the immediacy of what has to be done with the pool issue, whether it needs to be voted on, in the upcoming Tuesday meeting. I understand that Monroeville, according to these letters, did request the Turnpike Commission that if Monroeville did sell the land, if Monroeville could lease it back for $1 a year in 2019 and 2020, but the Turnpike Commission turned that down because of potential liabilities they didn't want to take on, and I understand that. But they also mentioned in the same letter, and I'm talking about a letter from Tuesday, November 20th, 2018. This was to Mr. Little from Charles Brannigan. He is the consultant project manager of the Interstate Acquisition Services, a division of Century Engineers, Inc. The other point he made in this letter was that if Monroeville did decide to operate, 1 minute, okay.
Less than.
All right. The pool in 2019, as we did, they would still, the offer that they're making, the amount of money would still be, valid, as we all know. But if Monroeville did decide to run the pool in 2020, it says, should the municipality desire to continue operation of the pool through 2020, the Turnpike Commission will reserve the right to determine if the current valuation is still reflective of the condition of the pool at the end of 2020. This may result in a revised appraisal report and offer. And I understand that's what's been referenced, that if it's sold after the end of this year, that Monroeville might get less money because the pool has been used and the equipment's been used. I'm not sure if they ever intend on reusing that material, or if it's just an idea of how much they should pay us because the material has depreciation on it, that kind of thing. But to me, the point there is that they obviously don't need the pool yet in 2020, and if the representatives of the pool feel it, I kind of leave it up to them. If they feel that it's important enough to run the pool at least one more year through Monroeville and possibly have less money, maybe they can make that point or what they think about that to Monroeville. But I just want to make it clear that it's not like they condemned it and want to take it right now. It's just they might give a little bit less money based on depreciation. So,
thank you.
So those are my 2 points.
Thank you, David.
Okay, well, I'll stop talking, but is there any...
Your 5 minutes.
Oh, I understand. Yeah. But, I mean, can somebody answer my...
Let's get through all the comments, and if we can answer questions, we'll do so at the end of the comment period.
Of everybody's comments?
We have people here, yeah. I want to get everybody to get
Yeah.
their comments into the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure.